I'm just going to let you know that it's a great post 4th of July meal since I wasn't able to make it to the float because of, well, unforeseen circumstances. But the thing about the 4th of July is we have one great mascot, Uncle Sam. Everybody knows him as this cartoon character that starts white sails, things like that. But what you may not know is he's a real human being. Samuel Wilson was born in 1766 in Mason, New Hampshire, farming family, modest means. But he wasn't one who was settled for that kind of lifestyle. So he and his brother walked from Mason, New Hampshire to Troy, New York, to find jobs, to find adventure, I guess, in Troy, New York. It must have been a hot spot back in the 1700s. But what he eventually did was made his way, became a meat packer, and eventually in his own meat packing business. During the War of 1812, he became the supplier of canned meat for the soldiers. So at that point, every piece was stamped U.S. for United States, because they were the property. But what most soldiers, if you've met some soldiers, they pretty much have some gallows humor and they will just make fun of anything, and even back then they did. And so that became Uncle Sam because Uncle Sam was feeding them. And I'm sure it had something to do with the quality of potted meat in 1812 too. But just as Mr. Wilson became the exclusive feeder of the armed forces, the nickname stuck. And just to kind of get where we're at with the human being, he lived his life out peacefully. He moved back to Troy, married his high school sweetheart, or his childhood sweetheart, and died in 1852. But that's only where the beginning of the story happens. The U.S., we had a series of books called Brother Jonathan and John Bull. Brother Jonathan was this kind of smart alecky imp who was always getting John Bull riled up. Brother Jonathan was the symbol for America at the time, with John Bull being England. And over time, this became a popular series and even lasted until well after any kind of negative dealings with England. But as things progressed and times changed, Thomas Nast, the cartoonist, maybe considered the greatest political cartoonist in American history, took on the character of Brother Jonathan, learned about Samuel Wilson and the Uncle Sam references, and then we ended up with a character that became tall, goateed, striped pants, and star-spangled hat. That was the foundation for our current Uncle Sam. He named it, but when he named it, it was in a cartoon from Harper's Weekly, November 20th, 1869, where he put Columbia, which was the current symbol of America, and Uncle Sam at a table with immigrants at a round table all around, and it was called Uncle Sam's Thanksgiving Dinner. And he was carving the meat and feeding immigrants from around the world. This was Thomas Nast's idealistic view of America. It was what transformed our view of immigration at the turn of the 19th century, and it really shaped the way we started viewing us as a melting pot at the time. From there, we move on to World War I. And in 1914, James Montgomery Flagg, which I think is ironic that his name is Flagg, but he is the person who created the iconic "I Want You" poster. That poster was there as a recruitment tool and became, well, what's arguably known as the most famous poster, and called that from a book called The Most Famous Poster. But it defined the character. James Flagg actually took pictures of the original Samuel Wilson and used that as the model for the famous and iconic poster of recruitment poster of Uncle Sam. When that